alibi, and I don't want a long goodbye. You don't need your heartache justified. Just get gone, girl, just get gone. Now you don't want none of my good loving. You got highway lonesome leaving in your blood. You look your best in green and wanderlust. Just get gone, girl, just get gone. Go on, leave, make a mess of me. I'll be a tale in memory. Get gone like a rock getting down with a rolling stone. Don't look back, don't turn around, don't check your mirrors until the next town. Get gone like a bullet from the barrel of a boiled gun. Just get gone. Oh, get gone. Now I won't cry till you get out of sight. I hit my knees till your time's just right. So get zero to heartbreak wheels on the concrete. Sugar, I'll be alright. Just get gone, get gone. Go on, leave, make a mess of me. Be a tale in memory. Get gone like a rock in a downhill rolling stone. Don't look back, don't turn around. Check your mirrors until the next time. Get gone like a bullet from the barrel of a borrowed gun. Just get gone. Just get gone. Go on, Lee. Get gone, Lee. Go on, leave, make a mess of me. I'll be a tale-lit memory. Get gone like a rockin' downhill rolling stone. Don't look back, don't turn around, don't check your mirrors until next town. Get gone like a bullet from a barrel of a borrowed gun. Just get gone. Oh, get gone. Go on, get gone.
Oh man, you have all the chops and the skills, and it's just.
Hey, you passed the audition. You can come on tour.
Thanks, man.
I can pay you 25 great British pounds a day.
Oh look, I'd do it for nothing. You see, I'm kind of like you.
You hear that?
Like
I heard it.
Probably 7 or 8 years ago, where you just, it's the joy of it. It's like you're quite happy to be completely taken advantage of by the world because you're just loving it so much, and then you realise that you have rent and food and other responsibilities.
Yeah.
And people should really pay, which you should.
You should
really pay.
Yeah, they should.
Look, I don't know whereabouts. Let's just start the interview.
Sure.
So, for those of you that didn't watch our little Facebook Live thing that we did yesterday.
Yesterday, yes.
It's like being on one of those TV shows, isn't it, where you have to remember that it's not the day,
Yeah.
but it actually is.
Wow.
So, my wonderful friend here, Joey Landreth, who you've probably seen on this channel once or twice. You know, I'm a mega fan,
Right.
and it's cool because not often that you get to be a mega fan and then meet someone and go, "Become friends too." It's awesome. So, what are you doing? What's the dealio?
What's the dealio? Just hanging out in England, you know, just...
Wasn't cold enough in Canada. Thought we'll come here instead.
Yeah, no, it's plenty cold here, man. It is definitely colder at home, but it's... you know, when you grow up in Canada, you get so used to the weather that it kind of blows your mind when you go somewhere and it's not that cold. Like you go somewhere in January or February and it's not as cold as it is at home. It's kind of mind-boggling. But what ends up happening, like when you do a lot of traveling as a Canadian, is you start going, well, nowhere is as cold as where I'm from, so you don't pack appropriate clothes. Now I'm generalizing, and I bet you there are plenty of Canadians who are like, no, you're just an idiot. But I show up places and go, oh damn, it's still cold here.
Well, the good news is I checked the weather forecast yesterday, and today is the last day of the really stupid cold stuff. And then for the rest of the time you're here, you should be up. You may even get into double figures. But it's certainly going to be like between sort of 7 and 9 centigrade. Do you use that?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So you're over for a little tour.
Yeah, man.
So if you don't know Joey, he is and was and still is the sort of founder member of a band called Brothers Landreth. Brilliant band. Fantastic album called Let It Lie that you should go and listen to. But tell us why tell us why we're now just Joey Landreth rather than Brothers Landreth.
Yeah, I mean we toured we toured the crap out of Let It Lie, and it came out. I mean, we were done recording it early, like kind of March of 2012, and it came out. That's not right. It came out. We were finished recording it in March of 2013.
Yeah.
And it came out in September at home in Canada, and we just started. We didn't have a record label. We didn't have anything, distribution, nothing. All we had was a tour van. So we hopped in the van and we drove around, and eventually we ended up getting like a distribution deal in Canada, and then we went to Nashville and half expected to be sent away with our tail between our legs. We came back with a record deal, a US record deal, and just like little by little, the record sort of grew on its own and got its sort of own momentum up, and then we just sort of toured it until we couldn't anymore. You know, we got the opportunity to come over here, and that's when we met.
Yep.
And fell madly and platonically in love.
With the country, I think is what he means. Well, maybe he's not.
And the man, you know. Yeah, but all kidding aside, we did sort of develop a love affair with England and the people here. And when we toured last year, it was like the nicest tour we'd ever been on. We came to a new place, and there was rooms full of people who were really nice to us and who were buying our CDs, and we were like, because our trajectory had been like, put out a record, buy a van, get in the van, try to sell the record, and so when we came here, and it was just kind of like right out of the gate, we were having a really good time. People were really kind, so it was like, still to this day, it was probably the best tour we've ever been on.
I like the UK like that, and I think it's not uncommon. Certainly when you're in the States, there's such an enormous pool of super talented people.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about, there's like some of them, probably through accident or maybe personality, I don't know, but that just get a little bit better known over here. And I think we really take them to heart over here. I'm kind of thinking of, almost like guys like sort of Joe Bonamassa or whatever,
sure.
who, he's like, we love him over here. And in America, he's still very successful, but he's kind of like one of loads, isn't he? Whereas over here, he's for us, he's
sort
like
of superstar.
Yeah. And he'll sell out a week at the Albert Hall or whatever. But I think the same kind of thing has happened to you and the brothers Landreth. It's like, I'm sure there's, I mean, the fact that you got a record deal in Nashville is insane, because that's kind of like, the per square mile, there's probably more super talented guitar players than any other location on the planet.
Terrifying. Yeah, it is a terrifying place to be.
But no, it was great to see you when you first toured, and as you said, every venue was packed, and it was a really, really cool vibe. But anyway, so that was then.
Yeah, this is now S.E. Hinton. Yeah, so we just sort of, my brother got married in July of 2016, and just kind of needed to take a little bit of time down from the road. We all really did. So my version of taking a break is putting out a self-indulgent solo record. But at the risk of falling down another rabbit hole, like I only know how to make a living one way, and it's to play and sing. So. Had a bunch of songs. I wrote them, I wrote a bunch of them with my brother, wrote a bunch of them with the same people that we did for Let It Lie. We recorded it with the same rhythm section with Dave and Ryan from Let It Lie. And so in a lot of ways, it's kind of a continuation of where we left off with that record.
Yeah.
And, I'm taking a few more liberties on the record, in the sense that, solos are a little longer and a little louder, maybe a little fuzzier. But that was kind of like, well, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna record the songs that I like the best, and I'm gonna record them just kind of however I want, and worry a little less about anything. Just make a record. Not that Let It Lie is not. I'm not super happy and proud of it. I certainly am, but was in the position to be a little more like, what the heck, just whatever.
I mean, there's definitely, when you first listen to Whiskey, which is the name of the album, by the way, there's a definite sense of, you can hear the connection to Brothers Landreth and Let It Lie, but there absolutely is a definite sense that it's a little bit sort of less laid back, and it's a bit more raw, isn't it? A little bit more hard to really know. I mean, it sounds like the lyrically, at least, as well, it's more, you coming up with sort of emotions and stuff, as opposed to Let It Lie is a very happy album, isn't it?
I suppose certainly in its production it is. I think with Whiskey, there's a little less hesitation than there was with Let It Lie, and Let It Lie was kind of like, originally the record had, I'm quoted as saying this so many times, so I hate to repeat it, but it's true. We recorded 9 songs because we had 9 songs, you know? And we recorded them the best way we knew how. We worked with the same producer who produced Whiskey, but I think this time around we had a little more confidence, we had a little more direction, and we knew that we were safe to take chances and make risks. Take risks. So all in all, we're a little less hesitant with this recording, which is probably why it feels a little more immediate, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a really, I mean, I think the first thing that really draws you in as a guitar, or at least drew me in anyway, as a guitar player to listening to your music was the guitar parts, particularly the slide and stuff. It's very beautifully played.
Thank you.
But I very, very quickly became less aware of the guitar parts and more, and more aware of just how beautiful your voice is. To just it's really, and I sometimes think to myself, what's the difference between all the guys who are really, really good guitar players and sing in their band but don't quite make it versus all the guys that are really good guitar players and their band does make it. And it is their ability to sing and connect with the audience. I
Sure.
think the wider market is far more interested in how the guy sings than it is how the guy plays.
Much to all of our dismay.
Yeah, but you just want a connection, don't you? I mean, it's like, John Mayer, Eric Clapton, all these guys, the way they sing and they play guitar at the same time so utterly complement each other. It's just it's what makes them what they are, isn't it? So
yeah,
I think it's it's very cool. Well, look,
thank you.
I know I have a hashtag called, which I don't personally have it, but I kind of started it, called Gay for Mayor, which was my sort of, and as we were doing the Facebook Live, did you see Pete's one that came up?
No.
It was Gay for Joey.
Oh,
and
yes!
And I'm conscious of the fact that some of these videos may come across a bit like that. But anyway, I'm sorry, I just like the man's music, So let's talk about other stuff, and then we'll play another, or I say weird, you can play another tune. Okay. So has anything gear-wise kind of evolved between sort of Let It Lie and the whiskey thing, and sort of conscious things that have made a difference, just sound?
Yeah, well, I kind of retired my early '60s deluxe for that record. Not really any other reason than I moved to Toronto, which. You don't actually pronounce the T. That's all my friends from Toronto will call me out.
I thought you meant the first one. What, Toronto?
No, like the
you
city.
Mean the second
the
one.
city.
No, but you don't pronounce the T. I thought it might be Toronto.
Yes, that's it. No, Tirana.
Tirana.
Yeah. I don't know why I did. I think I just got very aware of myself on the camera. Very embarrassing. So I moved to Toronto in the last couple years, and so some of my gear has existed in my apartment in Toronto, and a bunch of it at home in Winnipeg. So I didn't have it for the record. So I ended up bringing a bunch of gear home at some point, and just the deluxe didn't make it, and that was kind of like that had been the sort of center of my rig for a long time. But on the album used a Rev 740 a lot, a really, really nice pedal platform amp. I mean, actually, it's probably more known for its sort of dirt and higher gain stuff, but we use the clean channel a lot. The V40, same thing, clean platform. And then for dirt, like for dirty amps, we used a company out of Winnipeg called Wawa, a friend of mine.
So no, it wasn't really like a pedal dirty sound. It was just a driven.
Well, some of it certainly was. Some of it was like my King of Tone into a clean amp.
Yeah.
But there, like the tune Whiskey, for example, was I think it was the vintage, sort of the green Sovtech Big Muff into this Wawa amp, which Jason, this guy who built it, calls the Dirty Bird.
Right.
And it's just like it's kind of modeled after a Tweed Deluxe.
Right.
You just crank it up and it's
so it's not sort of like
and
British dirty sound. It is just like old-fashioned American driven the crap out of them.
Yeah. So that's pretty fun.
They're quite interesting. Those kind of sounds I always find work great in a mix and less so. I think when you're playing in isolation, those kind of little driven old Fender sounds can sound a bit like. But totally. I think when you put it in a mix and you soften it up with some bass playing underneath it, whatever, they can sound amazing.
Just creamy and luscious and and this very much did.
And was that largely with this guitar or a mix of guitars? Or?
This guitar, it's kind of half and half. I also have a Collings I-35, a hollow body. So Whiskey was recorded with the I-35. The other single that came out was a 6/8 sort of bluesy rendition called Still Feel Gone, and that was played on this. My McConnell, which I had the last time I was on the show, the semi-hollow.
Yeah.
We played that all over the record. The Cootercaster didn't make it out. And it was, again, because it was like living at home in Toronto, and I just had so much gear that I could bring with me for the record.
I love that guitar. And I love the fact that it's like cost you a couple of $100 to put together.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like...
Yeah. And it will make its triumphant return at some point.
It must be nice, though, touring with the Sur, you know, I mean, because I know... You know, these have a real reputation for, you know, you can put these in minus 10 degrees in an aircraft hold and then 20 degrees in the back of a car or whatever, and they stay, you know, super stable.
Yeah, well, this is certainly probably one of if not the finest guitars that I own. Like that McConnell is absolutely masterfully crafted.
Yeah.
And I've owned a lot of sort of Strat style guitars in the past, and this just surpasses them in like it's almost funny, you know. I've had a couple parts casters, and you know, I don't want to drag anybody down, so I won't say names, but this is just a really solid Strat style.
They have a reputation for that, so
yeah.
And then pedals wise, what you said you used some sort of Sovtech kind of big muffy kind of thing, did you, on one of the tunes?
Yeah.
What about for just more sort of creamy, you know, creamy, less raspy kind of guitar tones?
Sure. Well, I had Analog Man King of Tone.
Of course.
Vemuram Janray. Wicked pedal. What else did I have?
Are you using just the reverb in the amps, or are you using Strymons or?
No outboard.
Or was it the reverb?
It was mostly. I think it was mostly post.
Right.
I do have a reverb tank, like a little sort of floor-sized reverb tank that sounds really good, made by a company called. Oh, what is it called?
That's not that ammo tank thing.
No, that's the
vibratos?
Victoria.
That's right.
Yeah. No, I don't have one of those. This one is called a Soulmate, and it's made by Van Amps.
Okay.
Out of
so
Minnesota.
A proper tube reverb. Spring
No,
reverb.
no tube. It's kind of a sort of best of both worlds. Like, it's small, it's, you know, and it's really luscious sounding. So we use that a whole bunch on the record, and then sort of plug in reverb as well.
And just for guys that, you know, maybe want to know a little bit more about the sort of studio experience as well, have you do you just let the engineer mic the stuff up and get the sounds that he likes, or do you have quite a distinct sound that you want to go for?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I have pretty good ears and I know what I want to hear, but at the end of the day, I lean on very much. My dear friend my dear friend Paul Yee was the engineer of this record, and we've been working together for a really long time. So he knows, you know, he knows sort of the sounds that I go for. I might interject an opinion here or there, but I let Paul build the guitar sounds. We spent about, I don't know, probably, well, we spent an entire day working on the guitar sounds, just like, oh, here's a clean sound, here's a dirty sound, and, you know, this is the signal path, and sort of experimented recording them in different microphones and different cabinets and stuff like that. So. Do
you end up double tracking much of it, or is it all, it doesn't sound, I mean, they're great guitar sounds, but it doesn't sound like, I think very much the songs are allowed to be the songs and let the vocal element of it be the sort of the preeminent part of it. But yeah, I mean, is it most of it just, you know, a single take on the guitar part?
No, like some of them are. Still Feel Gone, the guitar track that's on there, like the main rhythm and solo was one continuous pass. The rest of the record was kind of pieced together. The electrics were mostly, you know, sort of one idea, one guitar, one sound.
Yeah.
You know, if it needed some more parts to kind of build it up, then, you know, we'd switch amps or we'd switch guitars or whatever. Yeah, it was kind of like there was usually a main guitar track that would be laid down, and that was kind of the foundation, and then built upon with other parts. The acoustics a lot of them were double tracked, or tracked with one, you know, a normal tuned, open tuned guitar, and then we had a high strung guitar tuned the same way, and then just sort of doubled them, so it kind of has that big wide sound.
So how then? Because the Tour is a one-man band, isn't it?
This one is, yeah.
So the Whiskey Tour is a one-man band.
Yeah.
How do you even begin to approach, the songs that you've written as for a band, or not for, but songs that you've written that have been recorded as a band, so people will perhaps be more familiar with it as a band. How do you approach that then to try and translate that into something that's going to work from a solo perspective?
Yeah, that's a great question. You just kind of you take the things that you need and you leave the rest. I had actually in the early days of the solo tour, early days, like it was years ago, like earlier or later last year, like let's say I think it was October, November, and I did my first official solo tour, and I had this pedal board built with an Electro-Harmonix freeze pedal going into a Quadravox, and I had different patches and presets building chords so I could solo over them. And then I took it out on the gig, and so many of the rooms were so quiet and intimate that like the noise of switching the presets for the chords that I was building using the freeze and this Quadravox was just really breaking the attention of myself and the audience. So I kind of just stopped worrying about it, and there's songs that really want a big guitar solo, so I just play,
right.
And wouldn't, I think my comping, I will comp a little more on the electric and sort of throw some chord changes in just to give people reference or time reference, but, I don't think about it too much. I've definitely, spent a lot of time playing through all the songs and kind of making sure that I know mainly what my tendencies are as far as how am I going to mess this up and how am I going to fix it in a live setting. But
that's quite a nice way. I can completely see, you do see, I can see a tendency to sort of overplay when you sort of someone else, and I guess it's not intentional, it's just a worry, isn't it? That if you don't overcompensate for not having a bass player and a drummer and a keyboard player and everything like that, somehow people won't enjoy it as much. Yeah. But I guess what's quite nice is that most of your, all your songs have a strong guitar, element to them anyway. So it's, I guess you could just approach it so fine. If I just play that and sing it, it's just going to sound great anyway.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of what I try to lean on. There's one moment in the set list where there's just no way to really do it both, or so. I just sort of kind of tell a funny story instead. It's there's supposed to be a guitar solo here, and we're just going to pretend it's happening. And it winds up being just a lot of fun. You get to interact with the crowd in a different way. And, the things that I miss the most about touring with a band are also some of the things that I enjoy the most about touring without a band. It's the first time you realize, the first time you play a show solo and something doesn't go over well, and you look around to the band to right? Am I right? And there's nobody there. You're like, oh God, this is gonna be a long 45 minutes, or a long 90 minutes or whatever. But those are kind of the things where you're up there, and sometimes it doesn't go over, and you just kind of have to learn how to get through it, fight through it, and it becomes a lot more about enjoying playing the music that you're playing as opposed to, fussing over, so-and-so's too loud, so-and-so's not loud enough. Are we connecting with the audience? Just I just have to trust that, if I dedicate myself to the music, that hopefully the audience will get it, and if they don't, then they don't.
I'd be amazed if, the last tour, the Let It Lie tour, certainly the gig that I went to, it went down so spectacularly well. As I said, I'd be stunned if people don't take your new music to heart as well.
Oh man, that's exactly the thing that's scaring the crap out of me.
Well, and I guess rightly so. You put yourself out there emotionally. It's as you say, this isn't for people to share the blame if it all goes wrong now.
Exactly.
This is just one guy. But then look on the plus side, it's only one guy for the glory as well.
That's right.
It's all about me.
All the spoils go to the one man left standing.
So look, just to recap, because I think we'll get Joey to play out with another beautiful tune. So it's joeylandreth.com, right, to find out more about it, and you can connect with Joey on Facebook as well, I'm sure. He'll answer stuff if you have questions specifically.
Absolutely.
Tour starts on Sunday night in Glasgow, winds its way down the UK over the next 10, 12 days or so.
Yeah.
And then that's it, guys, unless you live in Canada, in which case you can probably pick Joey up. Can pick Joey up? Maybe, I don't know.
Hey,
you never know.
Depends on what kind of show it is.
I was going to
I
say
mean?
catch up with Joey and it all came out wrong. But anyway, there we go. So what are you going to play us out with?
I'm going to play a tune called Still Feel Gone.
Love it. Love it.
How hard can it be to pack a bag and up and leave? It's so heavy, it's so heavy. And how hard can it be to take two ends and make amends, make amends, make it bend? How many roads can a man drive a van on before he's called back to the one he left alone? She's out there in the night, little darling, she left the light on. Keep driving, 8 hours, you're back home. You still feel gone. You still feel gone. You still feel gone. Tell me, what does it take to sleep alone and lie awake wondering? Just wondering. And how much does it take? Find a heart just to let it break slowly, completely. And how many roads can a man drive a van on before he's called back to the one he left alone? She's out there in the night, little darling, it just ain't right. When you hold her, you wonder what's wrong. You still feel gone. You still feel gone. Ooh, you still feel gone. Can a man drive a van on before he's called back to the one he left alone? She's out there in the night, little darling, left the light on. Keep driving, you ain't never getting home. You still feel gone. you still feel calm. Ooh, you still feel good, don't you? You still feel good.
Thank you.
Thank you.